Okay, so this guy named Neil Postman wrote this book called Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Okay.
And I think his foreword to the book just describes what we're talking about so incredibly. So I'm going to read it out. We were keeping our eye on 1984. When the year came and the prophecy didn't, thoughtful Americans sang softly in praise of themselves. The roots of liberal democracy had held. Wherever else the terror had happened, we at least had not been visited by Orwellian nightmares. But we had forgotten that alongside Orwell's dark vision, there was another, slightly older, slightly less well-known, equally chilling, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Contrary to common belief, even amongst the educated, Huxley and Orwell did not prophesy the same thing. Orwell warns that we will be overcome by an externally imposed oppression. But in Huxley's vision, no big brother is required to deprive people of their autonomy, maturity, and history. As he saw it, people will come to love their oppression, to adore the technologies that undo their capacities to think.
Wow.
What Orwell feared were those who would ban books. What Huxley feared was there would be no reason to ban a book, for there would be no one who wanted to read one. Orwell feared those who would deprive us of information. Huxley feared those who would give us so much that we'd be reduced to passivity and egoism. Orwell feared that the truth would be concealed from us. Huxley feared the truth would be drowned out in a sea of irrelevance. Orwell feared we would become a captive culture. Huxley feared we would become a trivial culture, preoccupied with some equivalent of the feelies, the orgy-porgy, and the centrifugal bumble puppy. As Huxley remarked in Brave New World Revisited, the civil liberties and rationalists who were ever on the alert to oppose tyranny failed to take into account man's almost infinite appetite for distractions. In 1984, Huxley added, people are controlled by inflicting pain. In Brave New World, they're controlled by inflicting pleasure. In short, Orwell feared that what we hate will ruin us. Huxley feared that what we love will ruin us. This book is about the possibility that Huxley and not Orwell was right.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That sounds a lot like what's going on. That's crazy. It's spot on. It really is.
Whether it be the perspective of government, whether it be the perspective of these multi-trillion-dollar tech companies that, hit their earnings and please Wall Street by ever having our attention. The setup we have right now with computers is we're passive. They control us. They dominate our lives. They stimulate us. They keep us away from actually thinking. Because guess what? If you could actually think, you could start questioning the system. And so we have, in my opinion, an incredible societal setup to have no freedom and not even know it because we're so busy indulging in information and stimulation and addiction and distraction. And so there's a way in which reforming computers is actually core to reforming freedom, is core to reforming our ability to think for ourselves. And what I got really interested in was the idea that the actual physical hardware of a computer plays a big role with the blue light, with the flickering, with the emissive light in keeping us enraptured and stuck. And so, yeah, my big idea was if you were to change that, you were like kind of what you're hinting towards, if you could change the display technology to not have that physiological enrapturing effect, maybe we could start to change computers from being these portals and slot machines and these black holes of all of our attention and time into just another object or tool that you find useful and you put away.
Do you think people in Silicon Valley and people that work at these giant tech companies are aware of this? Is there anyone who's aware of this? And if they are, what do you think, what is their view on it?
Well, I think that's what's so heartbreaking about this is they're the most conscious about this. People don't know this fact. I think it should be absolutely well known. Steve Jobs didn't allow his own kids to have iPhones or iPads until they were 16. But he is happy as hell to sell it to your kids. How is that not like on the front page of everything?
Is that real? That's for real?
Yeah, you can look it up.
Wow.
How is that not on the front page of everything, that this guy who invented it knew what its negative impact was on a developing brain, and he's happy to sell it to the rest of you? You look at Mark Zuckerberg, he doesn't allow his kids to have social media or phones.
Right.
He himself uses an e-paper tablet, but he's trying to get you to put the screen to be your entire life.
Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, did not allow his children to use iPads or other technology at home. Wow. In his 2011 interview with the New York Times, he said that we don't allow iPads in the home. We think it's too dangerous for them, in effect. And he recognized the iPad's addictive nature and believed it would be difficult for children to resist the allure. Wow, dude. Holy shit. Yep. And Gates did not allow his children cell phones until they were 14 years old. Prohibited them during meals and before bed. Wasn't there something though? Did you hear about the, I don't know if it was a study or if it was an article that came out about surgeons that played video games were like 90% better at like performing surgery? It might have even been brain surgeons. Can you find, surgeons who played video games study? That's it. You just have to type in surgeon play video games to find it. The impact of video games on training surgeons in the 21st century. Scroll down. There you go. No. It was the link below that. Yeah, right there.
Oh, wow.
2017. So what's the background? Video games have become extensively integrated in popular culture. Anecdotal observations of young surgeons suggest that video game playing contributes to performance excellence in laparoscopic surgery. Training benefits for surgeons who play video games should be quantifiable. Is there the hypothesis is there a potential link between video game play and surgical skill and suturing? And I guess can you go down to the result? Yeah. Past video game play in excess of 3 hours a week correlated with 37% fewer errors and 27% faster completion. Overall Top Gun score was 33% better for video game players and 42% better if they played more than 3 hours a week. How fucking wild is that shit, dude? You got to create a video game console.
Dude, I think that's the point here is like, it's not to be Luddites and throw this stuff away.
Right.
And say completely, no, we can't have technology.
Right.
This stuff is
video
incredible.
game is not like playing a video game is not like scrolling mindlessly through social media. It's way different.
And that, exactly. It's how do we carve out the better for you parts of computing?
Yeah.
And remove all the ways in which it's predatory.
Yes.
That it's not been optimized for human health, for human psychology, for any of it. And early days computers, they were not like this. Like you sat down with a computer and you like could do your work and then you put it away. It's the problem now is they're always on you all the time. And these algorithms are so incredibly good at finding out exactly what you like and then just feeding it to you till ever. And I love this quote, which is back in the day, Gary Kasparov, the world's best chess player, was playing Deep Blue, this AI by IBM. And the famous thing here is for the first time ever, a computer had beaten the world's best chess player. And that computer, Deep Blue, that AI that beat Gary Kasparov back then, that was 1,000,000 times less powerful than the AIs and computers we have today. So you now today have 1,000,000 times more powerful computer every minute playing a game against you, which is addict you and get you to spend as much time as possible. That's what they have on their internal dashboard, their OKRs, how much time, how much engagement do we get from a customer. And you don't even know you're playing a game against this. If Gary Kasparov lost back then, what chance do we have today? And I don't think people realize it because it just seems like, oh, I'm just reading something or watching something. They do not understand
And also
the system of control that
And also, he was aware he was playing.
he
the
was
game.
aware he was playing the game.
We're not.
We have no. And so it's like when you start to realize actually how much this benefits the current status quo of society to have people this way, no wonder they don't want to change computers. And you can't come out and suddenly, if you're Tim Cook, and say, hey, this is the iPad Healthy Edition. You know, it no longer has blue light, it no longer flickers. Because you're going to be like, so every iPad before was not healthy? Like,
Right.
you're not going to come out and
Yeah, that's not.
you
Yeah,
know,
right. I see what-
jeopardize your entire business and everything you sell.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And so if more people just knew that so many of the people in Silicon Valley don't allow their kids to use phones and iPads and social media and unrestricted access, they're all incredibly careful